Hello, welcome back to another video. I am back off holiday and had a really nice time away. Got stuck up a mountain and it rained for the rest of the week, so couldn't really do any more mountain climbing, which was a blessing in disguise because I couldn't really be arsed after the first one because it nearly killed me. But while I was away, the old Xbox rumour mill was addressed by Phil Spencer and his team on Thursday. I didn't really like the way it was sort of shadow dropped. I was expecting it to be some sort of live podcast, but it just suddenly just popped up there and you had to watch it 20 minutes long, and it was all right. It wasn't great, it wasn't shit. I mean, they were kind of they've sort of confirmed that the Xbox isn't going anywhere, which is great. You know, Xbox is still going to have consoles. They're still going to release all the stuff day and date on Game Pass. 34 million subscribers on Game Pass as well, which is crazy. But the whole rumour sort of thing about the games coming over, the rumour was true, but still being very vague on the whole what games they were coming. You know, I was kind of annoyed that they didn't announce the 4 games that are coming to to PlayStation and Nintendo. I understand there's probably things behind the scenes where they've got deals set up with, you know, Nintendo's doing a direct soon apparently, and that might be where Hi-Fi Rush is dropped or whatever, and they might want to announce them themselves. I just feel like this rumour was too big to sort of glaze over it and be very vague. It was 4 games, 2 of them are sort of live service, which people are sort of leaning towards it being Grounded and Sea of Thieves, and then 2 games like Pentiment and maybe Hi-Fi Rush. Doesn't really sound like it's going to be the big games like Gears of War and Halo and stuff. No Starfield confirmed. No Indiana Jones coming over. And I suppose that's fine. But there was a lot of things that he said as well that was sort of like, these games have served their purpose on Xbox, which means that they can't really get anything else out of them on the Xbox platform. So they're bringing them over to PlayStation and Nintendo. And I just sort of feel like you've already got games like Minecraft, Cuphead, Ori on other platforms. And, you know, the Elder Scrolls Online, all on other platforms. The fact that they're even bringing these 4 games over, I genuinely think this is going to be a trial to see how these games do, and maybe when these games get sequels, they're not going to bring them over. But it's still all very much up in the air, because there was a lot of things that Phil said that, you know, we're learning, and or we'll learn. And it's like, if you're learning as you go in, I already find it very hard to sort of take anything that Phil Spencer says at face value, because when he says things like this, Xbox boss Phil Spencer says he doesn't think they should ever rule out a game going to any other platform when asked about Starfield and Indiana Jones exclusivity, but that doesn't mean that everything else is coming. We're focused on these 4 games and learning from the experience. And that just tells me that they're putting these out there to see how they do. If they're well received on PlayStation, then more games. There's already 4 games coming. It's crazy to just say, there's only these 4 games coming and that's it. The fact that these 4 games are even coming over. So with these 4 games coming over, we've already sort of opened the door, or rather Xbox has opened the door. And the door's already been opened. They've been saying things like this for ages, like with Cuphead, Minecraft. All the other games that are already multi-platform that are owned by Xbox. Call of Duty is going to be multi-platform as well. Now we've got these 4 games coming over. I was pissed off that they didn't come out and say, because I genuinely feel like they should have just said, look, it's this game, this game, this game, and this game, and just be done with it and said, you know, it's not every. I know he said it's not every exclusive. But the fact that we've got these 4 games coming over, you can't then say there's nothing else ever coming, because you're already doing it. Do you know what I mean? And I kind of just feel like the messaging still is off, and it's great that they're saying about Game Pass is 34 million subscribers, and you know Xbox is going to be around, you know, for the foreseeable future, if not forever. That they're going to be releasing consoles in the future, but they also said that we want everyone to play our games everywhere. I think that woman said, we look at every Xbox. We look at every screen as an Xbox. So I was still scratching my head when I was watching it and sort of thinking, right, there's things that he's saying that it's a lot of PR. There was a lot of fluff, and you know, Phil Spencer's just got this habit of just saying one thing and you know, there's a lot of double speak, talking out of both sides of his mouth. So I was a little bit confused as well about the announcement. You know, I'm glad. I mean, realistically, what does this mean? absolutely fuck all for me. I'll play everywhere, play every game I can, anywhere I can. That's what everyone else should do, in my opinion. If you're just locked off to one console and you're just, I'm only going to play on Xbox, I don't want to touch a PlayStation or I'll combust and burn. That's on you. If you can't see the potential of another console, Xbox is a great console. It's got a great ecosystem. It's got great Game Pass service. It's got great exclusives. A lot of stuff coming down the pipeline this year. Avowed, certainly more releases this year than PlayStation. Hellblade, Indiana Jones, all these great games that are coming. They're going to be day one on Xbox, but I still wouldn't write off more games coming over to other consoles. Do you know what I mean? Like Halo. I mean, I think Halo's a no-brainer. Bring that. Halo's pretty much done on Xbox. You know, it's great now to go back and play it, but if they brought Halo over to PlayStation and well, it wouldn't be on Nintendo, but it would just boost player numbers and stuff. So I don't get it. I don't get the announcement. And obviously people are still speculating. This hasn't really squashed anything. You know, people are just seeing this as some people are seeing it as a victory, and I genuinely feel, you know, some influencers that just mindlessly cover Xbox have come out and apologized and said, sorry for the way I reacted, blah, 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 you know, and these people, if anyone should do anything after this, they should look at people who they've followed or subscribed to and who were spreading misinformation and panicking and saying that they're leaving Xbox and they're done with Xbox and this, that, and the other, and throwing the toys out the pram. You know, because it's not healthy. There's nothing wrong with playing on an Xbox and a PlayStation and playing anywhere you can. I realise that it's very expensive to do that, but if you're that serious about gaming, then you should be playing on everything. That's just my view. So in some ways, it was good. I mean, I didn't like the way that he'd started talking about the industry's not growing. We've had to lay off a load of people, and then straight away, bang, that Bonnie, whatever her name is, came out straight away and said we've got double digits on Game Pass, and it's 34 million subscribers. And it's like, you've got 34 million subscribers on Game Pass, but you've still laid off a load of people. I didn't think them two things should have been in the same sentence. We're also going to get Activision games coming to Game Pass, which is great. Diablo's coming to Game Pass, the new Diablo, which is awesome. But there was still a lot of fluff in there, in my opinion, and there was a lot of PR speak and a lot of double speak. And, you know, especially when he's coming out and he says one thing in an interview, in a blog or a article, and he'll say a different thing when he's interviewed in a camera. And I just find it very... But that's Xbox. That's Xbox. They're terrible at messaging. And I don't understand how anyone could watch that and be like, phew, thank God, you know, thank God the world's not on fire. And it's not on fire. Do you know what I mean? Xbox is still going to release great games. There's still going to be day one for people on Xbox. There's still going to be day and date on Game Pass. They are bringing games over to other platforms. Game Pass is doing really well, but they're still bringing these games over. And I don't think, you know, if everything was tickety-boo and hunky-dory, then, you know, don't bring the games over and just carry on as you are. But the fact that they're saying these games have served a purpose, served their potential, and served their purpose on Xbox, they can't get anything else out of these games. So they're bringing them over to other platforms. Tells me that you can't write off more games coming. Oh, it's just these 4 games and we're not going to do anything else. Xbox are going to be watching this very carefully when these 4 games release on Nintendo and PlayStation. And they're going to be looking at the sales. They're going to be looking at the player base. They're going to be looking at the coverage of these games and how well they're selling, and you know if the numbers are getting boosted. And if it's making them more money, then of course, yeah, they might consider more games in the future. But to say that's it, no more. It's only these 4 games and that's it. There's no more. You know, it doesn't mean to say that in 10 years' time Starfield's not going to come over to PlayStation. I don't think it's going to come over right away. But it might get to a point where there's not that many people playing it anymore. That it's like, right, we need a fresh injection. We need to inject some life into this franchise. We need to bring more games over. But like I said, this does not affect me in the slightest. I genuinely feel the past 2 weeks have been eye-opening, to say the least, when it comes to people covering games and stuff. And I'm not a fucking pundit or anything like that. I know I talk about video games and create content and have a bit of a whinge and a moan, but literally I'm just a fucking guy with a full-time job who likes to play video games. So this doesn't really affect my situation personally. But, you know, the fanboys are still doing their thing. This was a huge victory. So Sony fanboys are still saying, you know, mixed messaging, confusing. The rumours were true. We're still getting 4 games coming over. Who's to say there isn't? I mean, that's just sensible stuff. If the 4 games are coming over, then I don't understand how you can just say, well, it's only them 4 games and that's it forever. There's no more. They're clearly changing and experimenting with things and trying new things and trying to just see. And Phil Spencer saying we'll learn is my take on that is that he's going to be watching this and being like, right, Hi-Fi Rush has come over. It's either everyone's going to buy it and play it, or it's not going to do well at all, and that's it. Do you know what I mean? But it's still speculation. I didn't feel like there was any kind of closure in that sort of thing. Only the fact that Xbox is doing well, that Game Pass is doing well, going strength to strength. The fact that there was some layoffs, which was unfortunate. But the fact that they're still talking about releasing hardware in the future and wanting people to play their games, and exclusives are going to be exclusive to them. But it's just a weird situation that they've created themselves. Do you know what I mean? I know I went on a massive rant about it, but I don't want Xbox to go away. I didn't want them to go fully third party because it just devalues the console. And competition breeds competition. Xbox is good for the industry, as is Nintendo and PlayStation. PlayStation's going through a bit of a hard time at the moment, saying they're not going to release any major sequels to exclusive franchises until after April 2025. And then I've seen other people responding to that saying, oh, well, I've got a decent back catalogue, I can just play that until then and twiddle my thumbs and stuff. And it's like, PlayStation should be releasing games, and they should be, they are the market leader. In my opinion, they should still be. They've come out and said that they're expecting sales to drop, and PlayStation 5 is reaching the end of the console life cycle or whatever, which is weird. But it's I just think it's still one to watch, and I don't think the tea leaves are everything's fine. We're all fucking gonna every console's gonna have its own thing, and we're all gonna have our own exclusives, when you've got Xbox testing the water by bringing 4 games over. And it might be Grounded, it might be Pentiment and Hi-Fi Rush and Sea of Thieves, and it's just a weird situation. But I remember I was watching it in the camper van, and I was sort of like, came away from it thinking, so the rumors were true in a sense. I mean, it wasn't necessary. I mean, they should have just announced the games. Do you know what I mean? They should have just said what they were. This has been festering for 2 weeks, and then they've had to sit down and do a 20-minute podcast. And I thought the setup of the podcast was great. I was expecting it to be live, but the way it just dropped at 8 o'clock, and it was like scramble to watch it as quick as you can, and then sort of process it and all that, all that jazz. I still felt like it was very vague in some areas, but we'll just have to wait and see what happens, because apparently these 4 games aren't far away from coming to other platforms. But have it to fester for 2 weeks and let everyone just lose their minds and speculate and find, there's nothing wrong with speculation. It's the losing the people losing their shit and saying, I've sold my Xbox and I'm leaving Xbox. I'm not, that's the crazy side of it. But like I said, this doesn't affect me whatsoever at all. I still play Halo on Xbox and PC, play with fucking Nintendo games on my Nintendo, and me PlayStation games on my PlayStation, so I'm quite happy. But it's definitely rocked the industry this whole 2-3 weeks. But just like I say, just to let that fester and then come out, and even if you just said the 4 games and was like, look, we're just trialing these 4 games, it's this and this, we're going to see how they do. If it's well received, there might be some more games in the future. But you can't tell me that they're putting 4 of their exclusive games on other platforms, and they're never going to look at it again. And that's it, only these 4 games. That is just ignorance, in my opinion, because they wouldn't be trialing this if there wasn't a sort of plan, to go on and to be like, well, if these games do really well, then yeah, we might bring some more over. Because, like I said in my last video, it's all about money. It's all about money, and it's just all about revenue and money, and how much money they can squeeze out of a game or a franchise and stuff. And if they can do that by releasing more games on more platforms, then more power to them. Xbox are like the biggest publisher in the world now. Huge. They've got that many studios and under their umbrella. It's crazy. They should be absolutely smashing it. And I really hope that. I mean, in my opinion, I think they're going to have a better year this year than PlayStation. Clearly, this might be the year where a lot of people buy an Xbox. Just to see what's going on and to see these new games coming out. Just they should have just said what these games were, because now people are still going to be like, well, I think it's this and this, but it's not going to be that and that, But yeah, a lot of news articles as well. A lot of people on Twitter, that are in the journalistic sort of circles coming out and saying things like Gears of War being considered, and I'm sure Xbox has considered a lot of things over the past few weeks, and all this stuff leaked without them sort of knowing, so they've had to sort of scramble and put a good spin on everything, I suppose. But I genuinely think there was some dark undertones to things that were said there, and I genuinely don't think this is the end of it, to be honest with you. But that's just my view on it. It's not good news. It's not bad news. It's not. It's not really anything. I mean, a lot of people are saying, "Oh, it's a big nothing burger," and everything's fine. But it's still games coming over to a different platform. Just have to wait and see, really. So that's it. I'll see you on the next video. I'm gonna try and get a tier list Tuesday and whatnot sorted for that, but I'm absolutely knackered at the moment because of all the walking around and drinking of alcohol. And we'll see you on the next one. So cheers. Thanks to everyone who's subscribed lately, and the traffic and comments have been positive, so really appreciate that. I'll see you again on the next one. So cheers, take care of yourselves. Adios.